everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a vampire deck profile. I believe this is the debut of this particular deck on this channel because I don't think I've actually done a deck profile for this before. So with that being said, let's just get started. To begin with monsters, we're playing 3 copies here of Scarlet Scourge. Scarlet Scourge is a really nice card for what it does. Basically, if it's summoned in any sort of way, you could pay 1000 life points and actually target any vampire monster in your graveyard and then special summon it. It just can't attack for that particular turn. However, that's okay because the whole idea behind this deck is you're meant to special summon a bunch of your vampires from your graveyard and you could trigger off quite a few effects and actually make your combos from there. Of course, that doesn't take away the fact that this deck is actually going to be quite a slow deck in itself, and you will be encountering quite a few bricks, including Scarlet Scourge himself. However, there are cards that actually facilitate an easier summon for a card like this because it is a level 6 after all. It's going to be difficult. The only gripe I have about this particular card is that it's not a level 5, which kind of prevents you from making quite a few interesting plays. But with that being said, I think it's still okay considering we still have quite a few cards like Desire, which could actually affect the level of these different cards. Next, we're playing 1 copy of Shadow. Shadow is something I've actually been considering taking out for the fact that it has such a huge restriction. However, if you manage to draw it on your very first turn, then this card is absolutely amazing because it obviously helps you set up your combos, and the fact that it's the only vampire that could special summon any other vampires from your hand or deck is just really amazing. It really does set you up. However, you only want to be able to go into this for your very first turn, so even for consistency's sake, it's not worth playing more than 1 copy of it, given the restriction is just that bad. Next, I'm playing 1 copy here of Vampire Vamp. Vampire Vamp is definitely something that I find to be necessary. As soon as it's summoned, it is pretty much going to steal one of your opponent's monsters and equip it to itself, which is definitely quite nice. And if it does leave the field while equipped to something, then you pretty much get to special summon her back out again. So it is true to her OCG name being the Vampire Succubus, but of course for special reasons they had to change it to Vamp. So quite unfortunate there, but I just felt that it was right to play at least 1 copy of it. But that being said, it is level 7, so one of the harder summons out there, so because of that, only 1 copy will do. Now, a lot of people might have mixed opinions about this, but I'm playing 2 copies here of Fraulein. Fraulein, I think, is just one of those really good cards in vampires in general, but also in zombies as well, and because even non-vampire players out there would know about zombies being strong because of Fraulein being one of those particular factors that make it so strong, they're gonna actually target this card and try to get rid of this card in some way by banishing it. So because of that, I wanted to actually play a 2nd copy, mainly for the fact that it was more of a backup option. But if you guys want to play 1 copy of it, that is totally fine, there's no big deal with that. I just chose to play 2 because of the fact that it's an extra security measure, that if the opponent manages to banish one, I still have the other left over. And this card is actually quite crucial for the deck. I'm also playing 2 copies here of Sorcerer. Sorcerer, you don't really have to play 3 copies of it. You mainly just want it in the grave so that you could banish it and summon out your vampires without tributing, and that obviously goes hand in hand with the Scourge, being that it will make him easier to summon out. But with that being said, Sorcerer will definitely do the trick at 2 copies. Next, I'm playing 1 copy of Red Baron. Red Baron is a similar case to Scourge, but of course, this time it's a creature swap ability, which is definitely quite nice. Obviously, that comes in more so in the late game or mid game even, but in the early game, obviously this is not going to occur, so it is one of those cards that is not necessarily a combo card. But that being said, I just still feel like it's worth playing just the 1 copy of it because it adds a bit of variety as well, and because it's also a level 6, together with the Scourge, you could also just go into your Xyz monster, your main one that is. For our searches, we're playing 3 copies here of Familiar, and we're also playing 3 copies here of Retainer. Familiar allows you to actually search up a monster, Retainer allows you to search for a spell trap, specific to vampires of course, but this is only due to the fact that they're actually being special summoned out and you could pay 500 life points. Now if either of them are actually in the graveyard, you could just send a vampire from your hand or your field to the graveyard and then special summon these out. However, if these guys leave the field because of that effect, or after using that effect, it gets banished. But that's okay over cost because we're playing 3 copies of them anyway to not only maximize on consistency, but also the fact that we are going to be losing them later on anyway, so it kind of balances out quite well for us. Now for a bit of generic zombie support, we're playing 3 copies here of Unizombie, and I'm also playing 2 copies here of Shiranui Solitaire. Now with Solitaire, I am thinking about bumping it up to 3rd copy so that we could actually play technically 6 copies of Unizombie. Basically, Unizombie will start you off for pretty much all of your combos. It is the card you want to draw into on your opening hand, and without it, you really can't be able to do anything. In fact, it's possible for you to actually attain a 3 board negation, which is definitely quite nice, but that's only in the situation that you manage to draw into the Unizombie. So I'm thinking about a 3rd copy of Solitaire, and if I were to do that, I'd probably take out that extra copy of Fraulein I had earlier. Next, I'm playing 2 copies here of Mizuki and also 1 copy of Gozuki. Gozuki adds for a bit more versatility in the fact that his effect during the main phase allows you to just send some monster from your deck to the graveyard, particularly zombies, but still a really nice card. And of course the graveyard effect allows you to also just banish another zombie from your grave and then special summon a zombie from your hand, which is very nice. And Mizuki, you guys already know what Mizuki does. So yeah, definitely a really nice ratio. I just couldn't fit in a 3rd copy of Mizuki. If I wanted to, again, I'll take out that extra copy of the Fraulein. And of course, being that it's a zombie deck, it only makes sense for us to actually play Ash Blossom, because being that it's a zombie, it actually synergizes. It's also a tuner monster, a level 3 tuner that is. Most of your vampires will be level 5, so when that actually occurs, you could synchro summon directly into an 8, which is our most common synchros that we're actually playing in this particular deck. Now as for spells, we're playing 3 copies here of Domain. A lot of people might even play 2 copies. That's okay. 3 copies and 2 copies is an alternating ratio that I see a lot of different players actually go with. And it's a really good card. I mean, sometimes you might get too many of them and some people might complain and take out that extra copy. However, at the same time, if you don't draw into it, it kind of does hold you back. Sure, you have your searches to actually search out the Domain, but even so, that might not be enough. And besides, you have other vampire spells and traps that you want to search for anyway, so with the Domain at 3, you're maximizing on consistency, and you get that extra normal summon, which definitely helps out for a deck that has a lot of monsters that are beyond level 4. Of course, I'm playing 2 copies here of Desire. Desire is a really nice card that allows us to affect the level of one of your monsters, making you go into your Xyz play a lot easy, and also it allows you to send vampire monsters from your deck to the graveyard as well, so it adds that, again, another nice versatility. The second effect allows us to pretty much just swap out a vampire for another one from the graveyard, so it's okay, but it's mainly the first effect that allows you to ditch a vampire from your deck to the graveyard and then change one of the levels of your vampire on the field. Very nice effect over there. I'm also opting to play 2 copies here of Vampire Kingdom. Kingdom's just very nice to boost up your zombie monsters by 500 attack during the damage calculation only. I mean, let's face it, your vampires need that extra 500. You don't really know until you actually play it, but it really does help getting that extra 500 boost, considering that cards like Scourge and Baron would actually, after destroying an opponent's monster, allows you to just take that monster and special summon it onto your field. However, you obviously have to beat over that monster, and with Scourge and Red Baron being, well, not that strong, having a Vampire Kingdom to boost it by 500 definitely helps out a lot. A bit of a fun tech, I don't really see too many people playing this, but I'm also playing 2 copies here of Book of Life. I mean, it's for zombies, it makes sense, and you also get to banish one of your opponent's monsters as well from their grave. Very nice card. As for trap cards, I'm going all out here. I'm playing 3 copies of Domination. It's just a negate and it's a counter trap. It's going to be quite hard for your opponent to actually deal with this card. If anything, they might not even be able to deal with this card. This is absolutely amazing. Majority of the time, you will always have a vampire monster on the field anyway, so this card will always be active no matter what. Even then, the fact that this card is searchable, definitely really fantastic. Of course, given that we're playing Kingdoms, we have to play the 1 copy of Takeover. It's just a really nice card, allowing you to actually just activate it directly from your deck to the hand or to the field, which makes it quite nice if your opponent's actually attacking you. And we're also going to end things off here with 2 Awakening. Awakening just allows you to special summon a vampire monster from your deck, but you destroy it during the end phase. It acts as both a defense on your opponent's turn, but during your turn, you just get out more resources, and you get cards like Retainer and your Familiar, which obviously allows you to combo off your different plays. Sometimes even possible during your opponent's turn. Alright, so now onto the extra deck. We're playing here 1 copy of Vampire Sucker. Believe me, I would play 2 if I actually had 2 copies, but for now I'm playing 1, so I'll make do with what I have. I'm also playing over here 1 copy of Avenged Savior. I would not take out the Savior just to put in a 2nd copy of Sucker. I do believe that the Savior is a really nice card, allowing you to actually ditch a monster from your deck to the graveyard. It's a free Foolish Burial, which actually works well for your zombies, and you guys might be wondering why not just actually play Foolish Burial itself. Well, it's more so a minus in this particular situation. You want to be able to draw into the cards you need, and drawing into a Foolish Burial just to ditch one of your monsters isn't really worth it, considering we already have cards that can do that for us, like Unizombie, and Avenged Slayer is not necessarily a minus because it allows us to ditch a zombie, but at the same time it's still a monster on the field, which is still obviously quite important. For the other links, we're just playing 2 utility links. We're playing Nightmare Phoenix and Cerberus. If you get your 2nd copy of Sucker, then feel free to take out the Phoenix or the Cerberus, whichever works for you, and add in your 2nd copy of your Sucker. However, as for the Xyz monsters, we're playing 2 copies here of Dhampir Vampire, Sheridan, and we're also playing 1 copy of Braum. This is our rank 5 summon, and this is our rank 6 summon. And with the Desire and the Scourge and the Red Baron, they pretty much will go into your Sheridan. Your Braum, you could actually go into it, not as often as the Sheridan, but it is still the option there. But this particular ratio definitely just works out for me. As for Synchros, we're playing here Void Ogre, we're playing our Savage Dragon, an Omega because we could actually go into it, a Crystal Wing, a Beals, and given that we have 4 level 8 Dragon Synchros over here, we're playing here an Ultima Tzolk'in, and as you guys know, you have Unizombie, you have Mizuki, and you have Fraulein. You could easily go into a Tzolk'in. It's pretty much just a staple combo that I think every zombie player would actually know about. And finally, to end things off, we're playing here a Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and we're also playing a Mud Dragon of the Swamp as well. Both cards are absolutely amazing, kind of acting as our super poly targets. And if you guys are actually wondering why I don't actually have super poly in my deck itself, it's actually in my side deck. So I'll actually reveal to you a few cards that are actually in my side deck. So I actually have 4 particular cards. I have here a Verte Anaconda, I have over here a Furious Dragon, and I have 2 copies here of Super Poly as well. These cards are actually in my side deck, so whenever I feel like I need to take out certain cards and adjust my plays, then I'll put in the 2 Super Polys, and then I'll also sub in the Anaconda and Furious Dragon as well, depending on what my opponent's actually playing. But it gives me a bit of options, and I had a bit of space in the extra deck to actually fit in the Mud Dragon and the Starving Venom, but I just didn't have enough space for these 2. So when the situation comes, I would go to the side deck where I have these particular cards to go in, and that will kind of allow us there. Super Poly just makes sense. Any dark deck, in this case your vampire deck is a dark deck, it would actually benefit from the Super Poly itself to go into your Starving Venom plays. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this particular deck, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do keep in mind that this deck is definitely a very slow deck. It won't actually always go into your big combo plays. Sometimes you just get that small early setup and that's all you get, but if you do combo Earthwell, then you could actually go for quite a few negates on the board, which is very amazing. However, if you enjoyed this particular deck profile, definitely leave a like and also subscribe as well for more videos just like this. I will be making a test stand video, hopefully I just don't break. But of course, also don't forget to share this video as well, and also tell me your thoughts about this particular deck. How do you build your one? With that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.